G'day viewers. My partner Nadine saw me throwing these chips into the box of boards that I sell, because all it is fibre. I've taken the actual epoxy off, and she asked why I was throwing them out. Well, not throwing them out, I get paid for it, but I said, because they're no good, they're useless. And she said, yeah, but look at all that gold. Which is a perfectly normal response. Okay, almost everybody that sees these boards for the first time thinks that there's a lot of gold in there. I did, most other people do. There's also 1,000,001 videos on YouTube showing that these are a waste of time. But for people who have just seen it and haven't processed them, I get that it's really hard to understand. You see all this gold and you think, no, there's got to be more in it than that. So she said, since she's learning, can she try and get the gold off it? And I said, fill your boots, if that's what you want to do. And she hasn't made a video before. I was going through my worst with cancer and all the rest of it, so she was helping me out, trying to keep their channel going. So she made a video processing these chips. I call them chips, but they're just fiberboard. So anyway, she's asked me to let you guys know that it's her first time ever doing a video, and can you guys sort of bear with her. I told her that she was very well spoken in the video. I liked what she did. There may be a couple of pieces that she might have missed a little bit or whatever, but I think she did pretty well. Anyway, so she's just asked me to let you guys know that she's trying, and can you just take into account that it's her first video. So here we go. G'day viewers. In today's video, I'm going to be processing BGO backs, the gold corner BGO backs. I've been keeping them for a while because even though I did a video on these a long time ago showing that they're completely useless, other people have also done the same thing, but I still get asked about them. So I started collecting some more, and I was really just going to sell them. I thought, bugger it, there's not enough gold in it to worry about, even though that's the whole point of the video. But I was just going to sell them, and my girlfriend said, no, I'm not having that. She wants to process them. I said, fine, and it saves me not having to do it. So we're going to process these backs and show you how little the gold will be that you'll get something from it, but not enough to warrant all the work that goes into it and so on. But she wants to do it, so from this point onwards she will be videoing. We're just going to weigh it. Okay, we've got it sorted, so we've got that on there, 0 squared off. Easier to weigh than to try and count them all, and there's all different sizes, so it wouldn't matter anyway if I did count them, because you might not be able to get the exact weight. So 720 grams, 719. That's pretty close to a pound. I think a pound is 850 grams or something like that anyway. So now we're going to go out and put these into some dilute nitric acid to dissolve all the base metals, and hopefully, first you got to soak them in hydrochloric acid. So I nearly made a mistake. See all the solder on those there? On the backs of the boards is solder, and so you've got to remove that first. So we've got to dilute it. You soak this in dilute hydrochloric acid. There's a bottle that I've kept. It's called used HCl, and I keep it for this reason. So we're going to pour the HCl into this container, soak them for an hour or so, or however long it takes, and then take them out, completely rinse them off, thoroughly get rid of all the hydrochloric acid, then soak them in dilute nitric.
So it looks like all the solder's gone. So what I'm going to do is take this water out, place it into my used HCl bottle, and then proceed with the next procedure. So these are the backing chips. What I've done was I've thoroughly rinsed it to make sure all the used HCl is taken off, and I've filled it up with distilled water with concentrated nitric acid. I'm going to let that sit until it dissolves all the copper, and just keep checking up on it. Now these are the CPU backings that I'm doing, and I've now taken it off the hot plate after giving it a sulfuric wash, and I'm just going to rinse it out to get all the residue off, which I'm filtering over here so that I could just get all the gold or whatever fragments have fallen off that's precious, and then from there I'll do the next step. Alright, due to the low chemicals that Peter has, I've got some water in there, just filled to the line that you can see. I'm just going to top it up with hydrochloric acid. Right, and a touch of nitric. Now the reason why we're doing this is because Peter's out of chemicals, and we're soon going to top that up. Put that on heat, just put a little bit in there and turn the heat up. Not that we need it here because it's so damn hot, but there we go. And we'll just wait till that all reacts and keep topping it up until there's no reaction, and then from there we'll move on. Alright, that's my stuff. I've had it overnight off heat, but it still kept showing reaction every time I put nitric in, so I've just topped it up with hydrochloric acid, and I've put it back on heat, and I'll see if I get any more reaction, and I'll just keep putting hydro in until that's reaction stopped.
Now the reason we put so much water in the first place is because I'm running low on hydrochloric acid, and the reason why Nadine said we're going to keep topping it up with hydrochloric is because maybe it's not acidity enough. Maybe there was too much water and it's too diluted, so we're going to just keep putting for the last of what I've got in there, hoping to make it acidity enough that it will react and give us a positive. But like I said, I told her these are a waste of time, so she might not even get a response.
So these are the chips I've been doing. Now what I've done was I started filtering it and you can still see there's gold, so I've just chucked everything back in here and put some nitric in there because it was in aqua regia, so I'm just putting some nitric in just to dissolve that gold, and then hopefully it won't be too much longer. So these are the BGA backings that Peter was going to throw out, and I said I want to do them. Now what I've done so far off camera is rinse off all the gold off the chips that were sitting on there. So I've sprayed that off, put everything in there, and I've got HCl and some nitric in there just to dissolve the gold. So I'll leave that on heat for a bit, and then hopefully that should be good to go soon. So I've taken my solution off the hot plate and I've just filtered it through here, and whatever was remaining I placed back on the hot plate with hydrochloric acid and a touch of nitric just to burn off whatever hasn't been dissolved, and then from there I'll just filter that solution again and go to the next step. So off camera I had the solution on boil with all the remaining sediments, and what I've done is I've just filtered it all back together. I am going to do a stainless test to just check if there's any gold in solution. Let's do that now. If I could get my big hands in there. It's hard to tell when everything's so brown. That's got a little bit of color change. It might be very minute because the backing of the CPU slots don't have much gold on it. So what I'll do is I'll just put some sulfamic in, which we use Scalex, and that will just take all the excess nitric out, and then drop the gold and see how we go from there. Alright, so I've done that, but there was no reaction. So what I'm going to do is put teaspoon by teaspoon of sulfuric acid in, and what we'll do is that should drop the gold, if I can get it out. I'm pretty sure this will react, so I'm just going to put a little bit in at a time. Could be ballsing this up, but hey. Right. So I'll leave that a bit and possibly check with Peter, see what he says. Alright. So I've had it or filtering through once I took it off the hot plate, and I'm just getting it separated with all the sludge. And then what I'll do is take this out, place it in the beaker, and put some nitric in with HCl. Hi, so I've placed it on the hot plate with HCl and a touch of nitric. I'm just going to let that dissolve the gold and then possibly go through the refiltering it, trying to get it as pure as possible. Until then, I'll just show you the next step. So it's the next day and I've put it on heat, and a slight bit of nitric in there along with the hydrochloric acid that I put in. There's a slight reaction, not much, so I might just let it cool down by turning it off and then filtering it in. Whatever I'll leave behind in that, whether it's gold or not, I've placed some of the waste over here, which is the waste storage of mine, and what I'll do is reprocess that. I know it's a waste, might be a waste of time, but you never know. I like making sure I've got everything. So I'll turn that off, let that cool down, and I'll come back to you when I'm done. Alright, so I've had that on the hot plate. I've just stirred it up because I want to try and get the edges clean. So that's why it looks a bit milky, but it was actually very, very yellow. Now, or translucent. So now what I'm going to do is put some Scalax in there. This will actually kill off all the excess nitric in there. And then from that I'll be dropping the gold. So I'll do that off camera because I know I might overthrow with one hand, and then take it from there. So I've mixed some of the S&B in some boiling hot water and I've stirred it. Most of it is dissolved, doesn't have to be fully dissolved, but what I'll do is pour it in my gold solution. Hopefully I get a nice change in colour. I might still have nitric in there, I'm not 100% sure. But either way, this should kill off all the excess too. One can only hope. That's what happens when you learn. See some of the colour change going darker. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to waste this, I'm going to throw the rest in there. No! Okay, it didn't work. Shoo! That's close. Now, just for the note, I've overfilled my beakers about 300 times and I still don't learn. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside, and see what Peter reckons. There's a possibility that I still have nitric in there, but the colour's changing. It's just I'm not professional. Oh, that seems to be not reacting as bad. I did have a lot of S&B in there, which Peter reckons is way too much for the amount of gold that I was trying to do, but it shouldn't really matter. God, they have too much and then drop all of it. Did not have any at all. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll leave that a little bit. Still got a little bit to go, but I'll see what happens here. So what I've decided is to try more Scalex, because I didn't get a reaction off camera, but I am now. So what I'll do is I'll keep throwing Scalex in until I don't get any reaction, and then continue what I was doing. It's not as bad now. Don't understand why I didn't react before. Maybe it just took a while and I was impatient. There we go. You can see there's no reaction now. Give it a stir. Okay. That seems to be it. Now let's see if I throw this in. Oh, see, it still does that. Oh. You can see it's starting to change colour. It's going more of a dark colour. Alright, well I'll keep doing this. I'll go in and ask Peter what's going on. So I've dropped the gold. I've already done one wash. I know I'm jumping the line a bit. So because it's not settling really quick, I'll fill it up right to the top, just because I'm amateur. Once that settles, I'm going to do about 3 or 4 washes. I'm pouring it in here so that I don't lose any gold. Who knows, I might even process that. Like just put S&B and see if, or let that settle and see if any gold drops from that. And then put it in our stock pot. But until then, I'll do about 3 or 4 washes because this looks a bit manky. And then once I've done that, I'll continue with the next step. So this is after the second wash, and there's a good layer down the bottom. And it's all nice and clear on top. So I'm going to pour that off and then do the third wash. So that's the third wash. The reason why I make it so high is because then I know that I'm not going to throw any gold out because I'm an amateur. But I'll let that settle and pour it out and then start the cleaning process. Alright, that's set overnight, so it's nice and clean. So I'm going to pour that off. And once I've done that, I'll do the next step. Okay, so I've drained most of the water. And I've just spoken to Peter, and he reckons I need to put on hydrochloric acid on the heat for about an hour just to give it a good clean. So I'm going to turn it on the low, I'll put it on 3, and then top it up with hydrochloric acid, and I'll do that off camera because I can't wait, maybe I can. Give me a sec. Right, so top it up with hydrochloric acid. And that will just give it a good clean. I'll leave that on for an hour while I burn some chips for Peter, and I'll keep coming back to this. Alright, so this has been on heat for about an hour, and I've got the hydrochloric acid in there just to clean it. And what I'm going to do is take this off the heat. I've turned it off, and then I'll do the rinses. I'll do about 3 to 4 hot water rinses just to make sure that the hydrochloric acid is totally gone, and I'll take the next step from there. Okay, so this has been sitting overnight, hopefully to let the gold settle. You can see it has, but it's still a bit dirty on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dilute it with normal water just so that I don't throw the gold out when I'm separating them. And then because the water is still so murky and not clear, I am going to refine it again. So I'll record that when I get to that step. So I'm doing the next rinse, and you can see it's really contaminated still with other precious metals. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the 3rd time that I refine it, and hopefully the more I do it, the more clear it'll become. So because the end result, what I'm looking for is just the powder, and it settles really quickly, and it's not doing that as yet. So there might be other precious metals in here, and once I've settled that, then I'll refine it again. You can see it's starting to drop. You can see the clearance over there. We'll leave that for a bit, let it settle down to the bottom, and I'm just throwing it in here in case I have any other gold that's floating, and I'll catch that later. Until then, I'll wait till it settles. Alright, so that's been overnight and it's all nicely settled. So I'm going to just chuck it into that section until I get to the bottom. I might give it another brush, and then I'll do the reprocessing. I'll just wait till that settles. I think I went a bit too fast. Anyway, I'll let that settle, throw it in there, and then I'll come back to you when I put it on another, what's the word? Nitric and hydrochloric acid boil. Okay, so I've done those rinses, but I spoke to Peter and it's still very contaminated. That's why it's gone all dark and it's not settling. And when I do the hydrochloric acid HCl boil or rinse, it always stays that dark. So what I'm going to do is, I've got water in there. I'm just going to boil that off for a couple minutes, drain all the water out, and then boil it with HCl. And then once I've done that, I will rinse it out thoroughly, make sure the HCl's all gone, and then boil it in nitric. And hopefully then I'd get a nice yellow solution. But I'll take you along with the ride, and hopefully we'll get this going. Alright, I've just taken it off a hot plate, and it's actually settling fairly quickly. However, still going to have to be overnight. but I might call it a day because the sun's setting, and yes, I do have a light, but my chickens have to sleep. So it's the next day and it's settled really nicely. So what I'm going to do is drain this water, then I'm going to put HCl in and boil that for a couple of hours, like maybe 20 minutes, and then do my washes. So I'll have that done, but currently I'm helping Peter do his, so I've got his on the plate, so I'm going to have to just wait until his is complete, because we've only got one hot plate at the moment. Oh, I'm not going to wait for Peter, so what I've done was I put it on the hot plate and I put HCl in. So I'll give that a boil and come check on it a bit later, and then possibly give it a very good rinse so the HCl's out, and then I'll give it a nitric boil. So hopefully it should turn out that colour, but we'll see how we go. That's Peter's, by the way. So that's been boiling a little over 2 hours. So what I'm going to do is remove it off the hair, make sure it cools down. Then I'll give it like a lot of rinses so that all the contamination's out. And then hopefully we'll end up with a nice yellow solution after I do the nitric boil. So it looks like it's settling quite nicely. I'm just going to let it sit for a bit longer, and hopefully that'll go to clear. And then I'll decant that and leave the gold behind. Alright, so that's the first wash, and it's still taking forever to settle. I might just pour this into one of the empty beakers, so if by chance there is some golden solution, then it'll drop down later on, and then I'll just process that on its own. But there's a nice thick layer there, so I'm going to just give it a second wash once I've poured this off. And you can see it's all clear there, so making sure I don't get any of that gold. Alright, that's as much as I got. Most likely that'll settle if there was any gold there, but I'm going to fill that up, do the next wash, and then possibly go another 2-3 more times, and then put nitric in and do a nitric boil. Alright, I've done my first rinse, so I'm going to let that settle, and then I'm going to keep doing rinses until I am sure that there's no HCl left. And once I've done that, I'll boil nitric, and hopefully it'll turn out like Peter's one. So we'll see how we go. Alright, so it's semi-settled, and I think it's just the dirty water because that one's still dirty. But I'll still leave them overnight. I'll pour this back into that beaker there, and then if it settles, then I'll just throw out whatever's on top. But you can see the gold at the bottom. So I'll give it one more wash, and then I'll do the nitric boil. So what I've done was I've put a little bit of nitric in there, and I'm going to turn it a little bit on so that it can boil, and I'll leave that for 5 to 10 minutes. Come back and have a look how it's going, and then possibly give it another wash or rinse out. So it looks like I'm getting somewhere. I'm going to throw that solution out and try and leave the settlement down the bottom in the beaker, and then go from there. Alright, so that's mine. What I'm going to do is settle down nicely. It's still a bit milky because I picked it up and swirled it by accident, but I'm going to pour it in here and filter it just to get that white sediment underneath there out, and then hopefully we'll get a nice yellow liquid down the bottom. Slowly getting there. Alright, I'll just squirt that out. I can't do it right now because I've only got one hand, but we'll have that done. You can see the gold starting to drop. Yippee! So I've finally got the colour that I want. So now, just rinsing out the filter at the bottom, the cotton ball, just so that I know all the gold's gone. And then what I'll do is I'll put some Scalax in to get rid of the excess nitric, whatever chemicals might be in there, which is what I use is this here, sulfuric acid, sorry. And then I'll use SMB to drop the gold, and then finally I'm done with the final washes. So just so that you know, there's a few times that I've put stuff onto the hot plate, and that's because I wanted to get this color. So all my washes and all my little bits that were stuck under the beaker and all my cotton balls and my filters, I then put on the hot plate to reprocess that. So there's a few times that you'd see that I'm putting, you know, nitric and HCl in, but that was just to refine all the wastage, because I wanted to get as much gold as possible but also get this color. So wherever I didn't get this color, I just repeated the process over and over until the outcome is this color. So I've placed some sulfamic in there, and as you can see, it's not reacted at all. So I'm going to do up some SMB, and what we're going to do is drop the gold and then do my cleans, and it should be complete. So I can't really do this one-handed. What I can do is I can try stick that over there, there's the noise. Alright. Oh, look at that change. Yeah. Oh, wait. No. No. Down. Come on. Of course it will. And this is how not to do it. Take that's enough. You can see that we're all color changed, but obviously that's fully inside. So I'll catch that all and go from there. But look how nice it's dropping. Finally, something's coming right. All right, so I'll let that sit. I'll clean this all up. Put it back in here, and that should be it. Let it do its magic. So this is my gold powder that's there. Peter reckons it still looks a bit dirty. I don't know if you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to boil it again in HCl and nitric. Just dissolve it again and re-wash. That's the liquid that I've just poured out, so it does have a filter in there, just to catch some sediments that might be left behind. But anyway, that's all done. So I'll put some HCl in here and nitric and give it another refine. Coming around right. Alright, so that's come off the hot plate and that's all dissolved. So what I'm going to put is some sulfamic in and see if there's any reaction. I'm going to put this down here for a bit. A sec. Oh. I'm just going to use a spoon because there's a lot of clots in here, like big boulders. Okay. Doesn't look like there's any reaction. Don't know if you can see from there. Pick it up. No, nothing. Alright, I'll just stir it up. There's no reaction, so now I'll put SMB in to drop the gold again. I'll try put that while I'm put that camera down. Put the spoon out. So this is the SMB. You can see the instant colour change. Oh wow, that went fast. You can see down the bottom. Yeah, it's the instant colour change. Should be it. Stop. Go down. Stupid. There we go. You can see the colour change there already. I'm not sure I got all the sides. There we go. So I'll leave that for a bit until all the gold is dropped and settled, and then give it a few rinses. It's all good. Okay, so it's nice and clear and the gold's at the bottom. I'm just going to pour it off into that. And then the rest of that I'm going to pour in here. Alright, I'll just spray that out and then go from there and melt the gold. So this is the gold powder. I've had it sitting and it's totally dry. So what I'm going to do is quickly go through and melt it. Hopefully I can do that in one hand, but if not, I'll show you the end result. Morning guys, so this is still the gold, I haven't got to it, but I've done a standard test and that seems to be clear. There's all the gold has dropped. So what I'm going to do is take it and throw it in our gold waste, like our waste bottle, and make sure I don't get rid of any gold. Oh shit. Okay. Beep. Right out. Alright. I'll let that settle again. Because some of the stuff is coming through. It's so hard working with a phone, not a GoPro. Because Peter's busy handling some video that he's doing, so I don't want to interrupt him while he's on the roll. So I'll let that settle and I'll keep throwing it out and then I'll just do the cleaning process after that. So this is what it's turned out like. I have no clue what's going on, but Peter reckons sometimes if I use the same way of dropping the gold, it basically will drop different metals. So Peter's got his gold in here from a different video. I'm just going to add mine to it because it's a waste of time and there's barely any gold in there. But however, I'm going to test it with stannous test. I can't do it one-handedly, but I'll try and get it like this. I've got my solution in there. We just put stannous drop in there. I'm going to put it on the table. However, it can contaminate because there's some stuff on the table. But anyway, you can see the gist of it. At least I know I've got all the gold. Yeah, there's nothing there. Alright. So what I might do is drop that into the filter and start to melt it, I guess. But that will be the end of this video. Thank you for watching and watching my muck-ups, my overfills and my overflows. But I've got more to go and I'll still do it. See ya.